Stare fixedly at this point. Don't blink. Keep your attention right here. Do you feel that pressure in your chest? That invisible weight you carry every morning without knowing why? That feeling that something is wrong but you can't identify it? It's no coincidence. That discomfort has a name, and what you're about to discover will change forever the way you perceive your reality. For years, you've ignored the signs, those subtle alerts your body sends but your mind rejects. The constant ringing in your ears when everything is silent. That vibration that appears out of nowhere and disappears without explanation. Doctors tell you it's tinnitus, prescribe pills, and send you home. But they never tell you the truth. Because the truth isn't in their protocols or their Western medicine books. The truth is buried in ancient knowledge that the West decided to forget centuries ago. A Japanese scientist spent 30 years investigating this phenomenon, not from conventional medicine, but from the intersection between quantum physics and Eastern spiritual traditions. What he found was so disturbing that the scientific community marginalized him, not because he was wrong, but because he was right. And that truth threatens the foundation of everything you were taught about who you are and how your consciousness works. Prepare yourself, because once you cross this threshold, there is no turning back. The ringing in your ears is not a defect, it's a communication. Your body is speaking to you in a language you forgot how to interpret. Every vibration, every frequency, every pulse you feel when the external world falls silent is a signal of something much greater than you. The ancients knew it. Tibetan monks practice it. Shamans use it. But you, trapped in the noise of modernity, ignore it. You medicate it. You suppress it. A mistake. Leibniz proposed the concept of the monad more than 300 years ago. An indivisible, eternal unit of consciousness that contains the entire universe within itself. This is not cheap metaphysics or abstract philosophy. It is the fundamental structure of reality. And that ringing you hear is the echo of your monad trying to break through the layers of conditioning you've accumulated. It is your true self pounding on the walls of the prison you built with borrowed beliefs, inherited fears, and other people's expectations. But you don't want to listen, because listening means admitting that everything you thought you knew is a lie. Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura devoted his life to this. He didn't publish in prestigious journals or seek academic recognition. He worked in silence, combining neuroscience, studies of sound frequencies, and millennia-old meditative practices. His findings are brutal in their simplicity. The human brain operates at specific frequencies. Beta when you're awake and alert. Alpha when you relax. Theta in deep meditation. Delta in dreamless sleep. But there is another frequency. One that Western science does not measure because it doesn't know how. A frequency that activates only when external noise disappears and your mind becomes quiet enough. That is the frequency of the monad. And the ringing you hear is its call. Here is what they don't tell you. That sound doesn't come from your ears. It comes from a deeper point in your nervous system, from the exact center where matter and consciousness meet. Yogis call it anahata nada, the unstruck sound. It is not produced by friction or physical vibration. It is the sound of consciousness recognizing itself. When you hear it, you are not hearing something external. You are directly perceiving your own essential nature. That's why it appears in silence. That's why it disappears when you get distracted. Because it is not a phenomenon of the external world, it is a phenomenon of your inner world. Most people live their entire lives without paying attention. The constant noise of modern, Civilization covers everything. Notifications, traffic, empty conversations, background music, endless television. All designed to keep you distracted, so that you never, ever come face to face with silence. Because in silence, the truth appears. And the truth is uncomfortable. The truth doesn't sell you products or promise instant happiness. The truth shows you who you really are, and that is terrifying. That's why people run from silence. That's why they fill every second with noise, because deep down they know that there, in that stillness, something is waiting for them, something they've been avoiding their whole lives. Nakamura discovered that people who reported hearing this ringing constantly shared a common characteristic: greater activity in brain regions associated with self-awareness and introspection. It wasn't an auditory defect, it was a neurological opening, an increased sensitivity to non-ordinary states of consciousness. In simple terms, these people were closer to perceiving their true nature than the rest. But instead of being guided toward that perception, they were medicated, silenced, returned to normality. Because a society of awakened individuals is an uncontrollable society. Think about this. How many times have you felt that ringing and dismissed it? How many times were you about to pay attention to it, but something distracted you? A message, a call, a random thought? It's no coincidence. Your mind has been trained to divert itself, to not go deep, to stay on the surface where everything is safe, predictable, controllable. But the monad doesn't live on the surface. It lives in the depths. And you only get there when you are willing to dive without a life jacket. The ringing is an invitation, not to escape your life, but to enter it fully, to stop living on autopilot and start living from full consciousness. But accepting that invitation requires courage. It requires letting go of comfortable certainties, stopping the search for answers outside and beginning to look inside. And that, for most people, is too much. They prefer the comfort of ignorance to the vertigo of truth. They prefer to stay asleep in a collective dream rather than wake up to an individual reality. Mystics have always said it. The path to enlightenment, to truth, to whatever you want to call it, is not a path of accumulation, but of subtraction. It's not about adding knowledge, techniques, practices. It's about removing layers, stripping yourself of everything you are not until only the essential remains. And the essential is silent. The essential vibrates at a frequency so subtle that you can only perceive it when everything else falls quiet. That is the ringing, the vibration of what you have always been but forgot. Nakamura conducted a fascinating experiment. He placed volunteers in anechoic chambers, rooms completely soundproofed, where the silence is so deep you can hear your own circulatory system. Most people couldn't last more than 15 minutes. They panicked. They felt extreme anxiety. Some reported hallucinations, but a small percentage experienced something different. After the initial panic, they entered a state of deep calm. And all of them, without exception, reported the same phenomenon. A ringing, a constant tone that came from nowhere. That was the sound of the monad, the frequency of pure consciousness. Do you know what is truly terrifying? That you can access this without an anechoic chamber. You only need inner silence. And inner silence has nothing to do with external noise. You can be in the middle of a noisy city and have inner silence. You can be in a silent temple and have a deafening mental chaos. Inner silence is a decision. It is the conscious act of stopping the constant mental dialogue, of not chasing every thought, of not identifying with every emotion, of simply observing without attachment. But here's the complicated part. Your ego does not want you to get there, because in inner silence, the ego dies. Not literally, but its dominance weakens. The ego is noise. It is the voice that comments, judges, compares, worries, plans, remembers, projects. It is the voice that tells you who you are based on the past and the future. But in the pure present, in the absolute now, the ego has no voice. And that terrifies it. That's why it keeps you busy. That's why it constantly distracts you. Because it knows that if you ever reach true silence, you will discover that you never needed it. The ringing is the alarm. It is your monad reminding you that there is something beyond the mental theater you live in. But most people turn it off, ignore it, medicate it. Because confronting that reality means confronting their entire life. It means asking whether the decisions they made were truly theirs or social programming. It means questioning the beliefs that sustain their identity. And that hurts. It hurts more than any physical pain. That's why people prefer familiar suffering to the uncertainty of truth. Spinoza expressed this with brutal clarity. He said that most people believe they are free because they are conscious of their desires, but unconscious of the causes that determine them. You live in an illusion of freedom. You think your thoughts are yours, that your desires arise from you, that your decisions are autonomous. A lie. Everything is conditioning. Family, culture, education, media, past experiences, everything has left a mark. And those marks dictate how you think, what you feel, what you want. The monad is the only thing beyond conditioning. It is the spark of pure consciousness that existed before you were programmed. And the ringing is its signal, its way of telling you that it is still there, waiting for you to recognize it. What would you do if you discovered that everything you believe you are is a construction? What would happen if I told you that your name, your story, your achievements, your failures, all of that is just a temporary narrative? The monad has no story. It has no name. It has no failures or achievements. It simply is. And when you connect with it, you experience something that no therapy, no drug, no self-help technique can give you. You experience real freedom. Not the freedom to do whatever you want, but the freedom to be what you are. Nakamura concluded his research with a controversial statement. He said that ringing in the ears is the first step toward enlightenment. Not the last, the first. It is the door. But crossing that door requires everything you have. It requires letting go of your certainties, your attachments, your fears. It requires accepting the death of who you thought you were in order to be born as who you really are. And most people are not willing to pay that price. They prefer to stay on the other side of the door, hearing the call, but never answering it, living mediocre, safe, predictable lives, dying without ever truly living. The question is not whether you can hear the ringing. The question is what you will do when you hear it. Will you keep ignoring it? Will you keep distracting yourself? Will you keep living on the surface? Or will you dare to dive, to face the silence, to meet your monad face to face? Because that is the real battle. It's not out there, it's in here. And the ringing is the battle trumpet, the call to awaken, the reminder that you are much more than what you were told. Zen masters have a saying: before enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. Nothing changes externally. Everything changes internally. You keep doing the same things, but you are no longer the same doing them. You are no longer asleep. You are no longer on autopilot. You are present, completely present. And in that presence, the ringing is no longer annoying. It is music. It is the symphony of existence manifesting through you. It is the monad singing its eternal song. Are you ready to listen? Really ready? Because once you start paying attention, you cannot return to unconsciousness. Once you recognize the signal, you are compelled to respond. And the response is not comfortable. It will take you down paths you do not know, show you aspects of yourself you would rather not see, demand brutal honesty with yourself. But at the end of that path, there is something worth more than any comfort. There is truth, there is freedom, there is you, the real you, the monad you always were. So the next time you hear that ringing, don't ignore it, don't suppress it, don't run to find a distraction. Stay with it, observe it, feel it, let it take you deeper. Because that ringing is a gift. It is your opportunity to awaken in a world of sleepers. It is your ticket to a real life in the middle of simulations. And even if the journey is terrifying, even if the path is lonely, even if no one else understands it, you will know that you are alive, truly alive. For the first time in your life. If this message resonated with you, if something inside you recognized this truth, then you have already begun the journey. There is no turning back. The monad has been activated. The ringing will keep calling you. And sooner or later, you will have to respond. Subscribe if you want to keep exploring these uncomfortable truths that no one else dares to say. Because here, we don't sell illusions. Here we destroy the ones you already have. And in that void, in that absolute nothingness, you will find everything you have always been searching for.